So the date is August 16, 2023. I'm sitting on a floor in a theater in Salmon, BC with Tamara Lich, who is a colleague of mine going back a few years. We were the last of the board of directors of Wexit Canada, and we were the first of the board of directors of Maverick. Since then, Tamara is the only one I think who has really gone on to bigger and better things. Of course, she's very well known for her work with the Freedom Convoy. We are so pleased to have you here in Salmon Arm, in the Okanagan, tomorrow in Vernon, and in Kelowna. So welcome, Tamara.
Thank you, and it's great for me to finally meet you in person.
Yeah, a lot of stuff was being done. Of course, you were traveling all over Western Canada.
Yeah, that's right.
And you were vice president of communications, and you didn't have any internet in Manitoba at one point.
That's right. Yeah, it's pretty hard to be communicating when you have no communications.
Well, what you've done since has been so incredibly important. And I think Canadians, Canada-wide rallied behind the movement with the convoy, and of course February 2022 was both some highlights and some real dark moments for you, I imagine.
Yeah, well, I call it sort of a beautiful chaos. There was so much going on, all the anxiety, with what was happening at every level of government and with the law enforcement people, the Ottawa City Police specifically. Yeah. I need to clarify that because the OPP, the Ottawa Provincial Police, were amazing to deal with, very amazing.
Well, you were gracious when you were actually arrested on the street.
Yeah.
And that's an image I think that most Canadians aren't going to forget.
Right. Well, that was our message all along. Be respectful and be peaceful and respect the law. And I think I alluded to that even in the last video that I did before I was arrested. We don't have to like what they're doing. We have to understand that they're doing their job as they see. They're just trying to do their job and feed their families. Forget, like I said in that video, forgive them for they know not what they do.
Well, a lot of us have a problem with not necessarily what the police did, but with prosecutors, justice departments did after the fact, and you've spent far too many days. Yeah. You should never have spent a single day behind bars for a mischief charge. It's absolutely unconscionable that could happen in a country like Canada that used to respect freedom and individual rights.
Yeah, and for 48 days for mischief. I was denied bail, and we're seeing a lot of the bail system failures now. I was in prison for that long, but violent criminals are getting released the next day and then going out and committing more crimes and then getting released. It's the catch and release, unless you don't align with Justin Trudeau's ideology, I guess.
And of course, the bail conditions were absolutely onerous and ridiculous.
Yes, they were. Yeah.
Not being able to talk to people, that you had a very, very close bond with. Has that been relaxed a little bit at this point?
No, I'm still only allowed to talk to all of them. Not all the organizers, just specific ones, but like Chris Barber, Tom Marazzo, Danny Bulford, and some others. I don't think those are going to be relaxed until trial's over. But the only ones that we've managed to be able to get relaxed were me being banned from Ontario.
So when is your trial date?
September the 5th it starts, and it'll conclude in November.
Wow.
November,
For a mischief charge.
Yes,
For freedom of assembly, for freedom of speech, for exercising your constitutional and your charter rights.
Yes.
What's wrong with that picture?
Yeah, I know.
Absolutely unbelievable.
Yeah. And it's so ironic, we were with the Peckfords a couple days ago, and it's still so striking to me, when we were in Ottawa the morning that the Emergencies Act was invoked, Keith Wilson and I were literally, and my husband, on our way to meet with former Premier Peckford when we found out that the Emergencies Act was going to be invoked. So Keith Wilson was the one that told him when we got up there that his charter was about to be trampled on. So.
The judicial branch of government in this country is really culpable when it comes to this.
Yes.
For them to take the side of government all the time and just throw all the charter provisions out the window just because there's an escape hatch for them is unconscionable. It's hard to believe.
It is unconscionable, but I mean, look at the information that came out last week about the judges that they're appointing.
Yes.
And now, yesterday I think it was, or the day before, I read another little nugget that some of them have continued to contribute. So, I just said to my assistant today, I said, I think this is going to blow up. Like, I think they're going to start looking at this, and it makes sense. We all know what's happening anyways. Right?
Well, the secret is we have to get the average Canadian to understand what's happening. Now,
Yes.
somebody you spent a lot of time with, both during the trials and before and after, I guess, Keith Wilson
Yes,
and
yes.
Eva
Yes,
Chipiuk.
yeah.
Now, I've seen you do a few interviews with Eva,
Yeah.
and she started her new movement,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
EmpoweredCanadians.ca. What are your thoughts about that?
I think it's fantastic, and she's definitely the woman to do it. She's got the heart, she's got the drive, she's got the knowledge and the experience, and she's really passionate about helping people. And the first case
Yeah,
that
she
she's
reminds
taken-
me of you a little bit. She's got a good heart and a tremendously positive
She
attitude
does, yeah.
in the face of a lot of evil, for lack of a better
That's
term.
right. Yeah, that's exactly right. No, I think she's going to do wonderful with it, and hopefully once I have some more time on my hands, I'll be able to help her out a bit.
Well, of course, you're here on your book tour.
Yes.
How many stops have you made so far, approximately?
Oh my gosh, we left. We spent just about 2 weeks in Ontario, and have had events almost every day. And Dwayne and I were at home for one night. We got in on a Friday and then drove out here on. We got in on a Thursday and then left for BC on a Friday. So we've been here for 2 weeks.
Wow.
Yeah, it's been amazing.
Powell
Events
River.
almost every day. Yeah, Powell River, Surrey, Brew Creek, Victoria, Campbell River. Last night, we were in Victoria. It's just been, and then
Fantastic.
today, Salmon Arm and Vernon.
We're so pleased to have you here.
Yeah, thank you.
It's an inspiration to a lot of Canadians, and of course, mainstream media is not doing a real good job of covering this. Eh?
No, they won't.
Yeah, and independent media, I think, is the future of media, of proper distribution of factual information, and not narratives, which is what you get from the government.
That's right, exactly. Yeah. I think in time we're going to see the mainstream, what we call the mainstream media now, just completely fall away to like National Enquirer territory, and hopefully these independent media and citizen journalists will kind of come to the forefront and become the mainstream media. That's what truth tellers is what we need.
So I've come to a few revelations over the past few years, and I think people like you, people like Eva, there's different groups. Like you're speaking tonight with Ted Kuntz,
Yes.
and of course Ted is Vaccine Choice Canada. He's independent of political parties. Tanya Gaw with Action for Canada, independent of political parties. You and I tried the political party route, and I look back now, and with wonderful 2020 hindsight, what you've been able to accomplish as a private citizen, doing what you did, getting together with Chris Barber and others, and bringing Canadians together, but in an apolitical, non-politicized kind of way, has had far more impact than any political party, including the political party to which both of us were on an original board that only got less than 150 votes in Calgary Heritage.
Yeah.
So what's the message to Canadians? Should we be supporting people like EmpoweredCanadians.ca, EmpoweredCanada.ca, and Vaccine Choice Canada and Action for Canada and those kinds of groups? Are they more effective or less effective than a political party?
I think they're more effective because I think once you start getting into politics, as we know, you become hobbled. And there's restrictions and very strict rules that you have to follow. And so I think keeping it outside of that forum is the best. I think they can reach more people. And I mean, one of the problems with politics in Canada is that it's boring. Like people, they don't want to learn about it. I mean, that's how I
And they don't trust it.
That's right. So, you start talking about it and their eyes just glaze over. Whereas you have, like Ted Kuntz and Eva Chipiuk and, all these, like Tanya is amazing. Tanya is one of the first people that contacted me when we started the convoy to see, what they could do to help. She was amazing. So those are the people I think we need, the critical thinkers that are willing to step outside the box and take a bit of a risk, understanding that sacrifices might have to be made. and those are the people that I see. Those are the people that I've seen at all of these events.
Yeah.
You know,
It's an education process.
it is. Yeah.
And all of us have to do what we can
Yeah.
to wake up the average Canadian that doesn't realize how far down the slippery slope we have slid.
Yeah.
It's hard to believe, you know,
Yeah.
some of us that are getting on in years have seen a whole different Canada.
Yeah, that's right.
And we haven't seen it progress, we've seen it regress
Yeah.
and devolve in a way that's incredibly difficult to watch,
Yeah.
to live and to experience.
Yeah.
This stop tonight, I don't know, you're on a panel with apparently 8 other people tonight. Is that kind of a first?
We did, I've done a couple panels now. I did a panel out in Ontario with Dr. Bridle, Dr.
Right.
Schumacher, Dr. Speaker.
Roger Hodgkinson?
No, he wasn't at
He
that
didn't
one.
make it, eh? Okay.
I can't off the top of my head remember. Oh, Chaba VZ. I'm not sure if you're familiar with Chaba's story, but he was the Romanian trucker that was badly beaten by the police.
Right.
And so that was. I really like that forum.
Fantastic.
I really like that forum. Yeah. So I think we're going to hear some really great things. And
Yeah, Freedom Network tonight. This is Gary's first major event. I've been working with Gary a little bit for the last couple of months.
Great.
And we're trying to be content creators as much as we possibly can, because I think independent media is the future.
Yes.
Highlighting Canadians who are doing positive things, who are doing the right things, providing some balance and perspective is what Canadians need to see. You know, I'm so sick and tired of people painting people that have traditional values as far right, you know, extremists.
Yeah.
When those are the values that built this country.
That's right. Yeah, exactly. And you know, we were just talking on the way in, like why is it okay for one? And I hate using the term sides. Like, I really don't like labels, but you know, for their side to be able to say whatever they want, they can say whatever they want. But then you can't even make a comment on the other side without being completely vilified. Like, we've really lost, well, freedom of speech, first of all, but we've really lost the tolerance and the patience to listen to each other. But then we have a so-called leader who has just, you know, used an election to make it okay to bully people.
Well, division is what
That's
he's all
right.
about. Right?
Exactly. And I think that's what scared him the most about the convoy. I mean, I'm sure they were quite concerned about all the donations that we were receiving, but I think even more than that, it was the unity that really freaked him out.
Well, I donated twice. Yeah, GoFundMe and then Give, Send, Go.
Yes.
I have no idea whether a nickel made it through.
Yeah,
you know, that's how
right.
crazy it was.
Yeah, yeah.
But for them to see, you know, thousands of Canadians donating over $10 million to a cause twice, you know, and you can't find a political party that's able to raise that kind of money. So that kind of tells you that Canadians are behind you.
That's right.
We are firmly behind you. Really, really happy you're here. Glad you're doing the book tour. Can't wait to get my autographed copy of the book at the conclusion. And yeah, go out there and break a leg. Any last thoughts and words before you get yourself settled for the main event?
No, I think it's going to be great. I'm so excited to be here. I've never been to Salmon Arm before. I understand there's some history here.
We don't always have smoke like you have smoke at the moment.
Yeah, it's really smoky right now, yeah. So, but it's beautiful. Still beautiful.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, really pleased, and we're going to be happy to see you in Vernon tomorrow.
Yes, sounds great. Okay.
All right, tremendous. Have a great one. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Bye.